Hi. One of the things I'll be getting into on this blog is talking about writing, because travel writing, and to me, that's one of the main ways of doing independent travel well is to write about it. Not to say I'm a great writer, just to say that when you've been on an epic journey, it's really great to be able to process it and in a kind of therapeutic way. And the first thing I've always did and recommend, and other people recommend, is keep a diary, ideally a page a day diary, and write down what happened that day, just irrelevant stuff, whatever. What did you eat? Where did you go? Who did you meet? How did you feel? And it might look, and it often looked to me when I look back on these things, irrelevant. But um, if you ever end up writing a book, you go back to those diaries and you think, oh, that's where I was on the 15th, and that's what I did, and oh, that's the name of that person, and maybe write down contact details as well because you might need them later. Anyway, where did I learn to write? Well, I don't know really. It just kind of happened. I was very bad at school actually, but I remember my mum used to say, "Oh, you write really good letters and postcards." And one of the things that um, one of the things that and it was said in a way that like, well, you're not very good at school. You can barely write at school, but you can write a good letter. And somehow that kind of fed through into me ended up writing books because I was basically the great thing about a letter is you're communicating directly to a person, telling a story to a person or an update to a person. And fun enough, about 10 years ago, when I was in Holland working on a really interesting project about international adoption, which were fighting against because it's basically child smuggling, um, I started writing this letter to my mother, and it basically became a book because I was basically telling all the details of what I was doing. Anyway, the other big influence in my life was my dad, who was a writer, but he wrote a brilliant book called The End of Something Nice, and then a very difficult book called Resurrection Shuffle that me and my brothers can't even read because it's so complicated and heavy. But the first book is amazing, and I've actually found a copy here, and there is the cover, The End of Something Nice, and there he is on the back, looking very handsome and dashing. Isn't that amazing? Um, and then I wanted to just read you a bit from it. This is that inner page where you get what they call the blurb. It says, Angus Wolfe Murray's first novel shows the world as children see it, not the sickly sweet world of fond remembrance, but the hard, puzzling stuff of real experience. For Jonathan and his twin sister Jane, events move with a simple and inexorable logic, a logic based on the fact that grown up reactions and decisions need follow no logical pattern. Adult agonies are just one aspect of the incomprehensible outer world to be observed with interest, but without involvement. The first crisis of the children's lives comes when Jonathan is banished to boarding school, exchanging the warm, wild setting of the Scottish home for the cold eyed, uniformed regime of an English preparatory school. Their desperate attempts to delay his departure are matched in pace and mood by a series of terrible events in the adult world around them. Inevitably, life for both children and grown-ups takes on the quality of nightmare as the exaggerations and understatements inherent in a child's eye view merge with the realities of an adult life out of control. Theirs is no ordinary childhood, but their way of perceiving is common to all children and has been recreated with uncanny accuracy in this brilliant and macabre novel. Um, and I really think it's a great book. Well, I guess I'm biased, but like I said, I couldn't read his second book, Resurrection Shuffle. It was just too dense. And it was published in 1967 by Macmillan, and you can actually get it secondhand for, well, you can see the price tag here, 30p. That was a long time ago. I actually got a copy online a few years back for 1 penny, and I ordered 100, and they said, no, 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 you can only have one because basically they were charging extra for the postage, so they're making a bit of money on the post. Anyway, maybe you can get it online. Um, because it's always really interesting when an adult can write from the child's perspective, because basically the whole world seems to be completely irrational and chaotic, doesn't make sense. And you sort of, it's almost got a horror story feel to it, or a kind of magic realism story. And I read an interview with Gabriel Garcia Marquez a few years back, and he said that all of his books, like 100 Years of Solitude and all those great magic realism novels from Latin America, they were all based on his view of life as a 4-year-old child. So it really changes the perspective on how those books are written and understood. And the whole thing seems magic realism, but actually that would just be how kids sees it. And it's just so interesting. Anyway, sadly, my parents have both passed away, but they left with me a kind of inheritance, if you like, of the ability to write and the confidence to try and publish my books, which is something that, you know, no, none of them taught me anything like that and probably discouraged me from doing it, but I've ended up doing it anyway. What do you think?